You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of, What If Deku Becomes King and Gets 13 Princess Harem? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of MangaMuse on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Izuku just traveled to 77 different dimensions, meeting all the hot shots and also gaining significant knowledge. Izuku found himself back in the alleyway where he first found the portal gun and began his crazy adventures through different dimensions. His body felt strange as he's now weaker, now he's 2 years or so younger now. He wondered if it was all a dream but saw the SAC on the ground. He picked it up and Secundo appeared in front of him. User Izuku, is this your world? Secundo asked. Yes it is, Izuku said, putting the SAC in his backpack. Connecting now, Secundo said as he links up with the internet. Izuku's phone began ringing and he let it go to voicemail. Izuku, pick up some rice on your way home, Inko said over the phone. The first time that Izuku heard it for a very long time. Yes, I'm home, Izuku said as he leans on the alleyway's wall and slides down. I'm home. The camera pans out as music begins to play. Izuku comes out of the alleyway walking home. Small hands waved to me from the other side of the bridge. As a light spring rain shower began. Why didn't I return that wave? Was it because of the rain that was falling? Take care, I muttered. And closed off my heart. Izuku looks around the place he hasn't seen for him in years. Everything was the same but different. When the rain lets up, this gentle psalm will reach you. And someday you'll get to see the continuation of the dream you had. He was home, but with all that has happened to him, he wasn't the same anymore. Flowers without even a name, like I saw in my childhood, poured down in a twilight rain shower. What was it that I gave up? Was it because of the rain that was falling? Without looking back, I ran away. On that day, to never return. Izuku pulls out his old notebook that, like all of the things that he had with him at the start, was destroyed or lost. He began drawing in it, of a costume. When the rain lets up, this gentle psalm will reach you. And someday you'll get to see the continuation of the dream you had. Izuku looks down at the drawing of a figure dressed in a space-themed uniform with helmet, standing next to a prawn suit. It will take him time to find the materials he needs, but he can make his hero gear. And show his world a powerless hero is possible. When the rain lets up, this gentle psalm will reach you. And someday you'll get to see the continuation of the dream you had. Izuku stops as he's back standing in front of his home. Smiling, he walks up the stairs and see his mother again. The gym turned movie theater. And that's the show. We did cut out lots of the boring stuff like Izuku searching for resources and all that and just got to the good stuff, Discord said, appearing on the stage again. Man, I knew Izuku is dense, but how could you miss all of that? Ponyhead said, flying to Izuku's face. I guess, I was more focused on getting back home, Izuku said as the girls around him glared at him. Let's cut to the chase, Hippolyta said, using the lasso of truth again on Izuku. Which female do you love the most? All the girls stared at Izuku as did their mothers. My mom, Izuku said, making many grumbled or giggle at the answer. Who do you love romantically who is younger and not related to you? Hippolyta asked again. I don't love them, I see all of them as my friends, Izuku said, causing all the girls to stare at him with a twitch in their eyes. Wow, so dense that you don't even know the difference between friendship and romance, Sunset said, shaking her head. And yet all the girls are in love with him, Ponyhead said, shaking her head body. So what now? Inko asked, seeing how many girls are in love with her son. Yes, that's a good question, Discord said, bringing up a picture of Izuku's head and heads of the girls all grouped in which group they came with. All the groups have one thing in common, a princess, which is why the title is named as such. All from a kingdom and now has a way to travel to this world or other worlds. With the only thing uniting the groups being Izuku. And there's the governments of this world to deal with, Izuku pointed out. Ladies, I can handle this matter. My people have protocols for dealing with less advanced civilizations. And afterwards we can have a sit down and talk with Izuku's mother about what to do with our children, VERYYYY said, taking charge. Yes, there's much to do, Queen Zelda said. Here, Mstr Cyclonia said, giving Izuku a computer chip. I made a copy of Secundo. Just put it in and the old memories will upload and you have your old friend back. Izuku embraced Mstr Cyclonies in a hug, causing the other girls to frown. Thank you, Lark, Izuku said. It's Mstr Cyclonies, she said, blushing but not fighting the hug. Wait, what about the other girls that lover boy here romance and had no idea he was doing it? Ponyhead asked. Oh, you just have to wait, Discord said, winking at a wall. It's just the beginning of the story, can't have it all happen at once, Mziplik adds, talking to the wall. Who are they talking to? Inko asked Izuku. I'm guessing beings who like them like to watch lower level beings like a show on TV, Izuku said. Really? There are higher level beings who are watching us right now like a show? Ponyhead said, talking to the same wall. Alright folks, while boring talks are happening, I'll entertain you all. With the Ponyhead. A loud sound of a click was heard. All great, you did it now, Mziplik said. You just caused the audience to turn to another channel, and I mean all of them. Which is why we all can hear the click, Discord said to a shocked Ponyhead. What, why would they? Principal Nizu has been in many high-level talks before, but nothing like this, as he and the other school faculty and staff are sitting in on the world government's talks with the 13 rulers of different dimensional empires, worlds, or kingdoms. All here because the daughters of the rulers had all fallen for a boy in this world, Izuku Midoriya. And using hard light screens to talk to each other. The 13 rulers have all talked together and agreed that a polygamy marriage would be helpful in creating an alliance between their different worlds. Pharaoh Yosira of the Nile Galaxy Empire has been dealing with all the challenges and politics, as her empire has been around since Egypt on Earth had taken over and ruled since. Thanks to a stable time loop from the founder of the empire, Cleopatra. Her empire has protocols for dealing with less advanced civilizations, which shows as she ran rings around the Earth officials and leaders. Pharaoh Yosira is also the most powerful, as she does rule most of her galaxy and has built up her military power to make sure what happened with a pirate king Octavian didn't happen again. And thanks to them being able to travel to different worlds, they are making many advancements. The second is Queen Torrent of the Cyclonia Empire, and the most worrisome. They are very blunt in them being an evil empire and willing to do horrible things, once given a reason to, as the queen explained. That's what separates them from the idiotic warlords who only live for today and doesn't care what happens afterwards. Her empire has provided a higher standard of life, education, and advancements to their conquered home world. Because the higher the standards for the common citizen, higher the standard for the upper class. And the young living under that kind of world will have little reason to rebel. Which she, being the sensible one to her more heavy-handed husband, learned from Izuku, and sees him being her daughter's husband help to rein in her and get her to be more pragmatic in how she runs things. Queen Marlena Glen of Eternia, whose world is advanced both in magic and technology. Thanks to Etheria coming back to real space, she was reunited with her long-lost daughter, the twin to her son. The two worlds are now allied together. The wheat class of the masters, the elite warriors, are on All Might level and above. Queen Serenity of the Moon Kingdom is also powerful thanks to the magic crystal that lets the user do just about anything, and has allowed her family line to rule and made the planets of her solar system that were once dead rocks, being able to support life. Her kingdom is highly advanced in magic-based technology, and after Izuku pointed out that all it would take would be someone who can depower magic, they would be helpless, have gone into fixing that weakness. Then there's Celestia, the ruler of Equestria, the oldest of the queens at over 1,000. She has the power to move her solar system star and moon around that her younger sister shares the same power with her. She can fling people into space just by thinking of it. Queen Moon of Muni rules over a kingdom of magic and are able to travel to different dimensions. As do Queen Helia of Ephedia, and Queen Marion, of Domino. Also are able to travel to other dimensions and have a number of allies. Queen Zelda of the Kingdom of Hyrule, Queen Rainbow of Rainbow Land, Queen Hippolyta of the Amazons of Themyscira, and Ursa of the Fire Nation. Are less impressive but are all powerful in their own right. The last is Agatha Gilman of the Kraken Kingdom, which her mother still rules as its warrior queen. She admits that she isn't as powerful as the other queens, as all she can do is transform into her giant kraken as the magic trident is in her mother's hands. And has lived as a normal family on land for years. But because of the advanced technology from that retro post-Fallout world with robots and lasers, her world is quickly advancing. Who are all currently questioning if UA is even a good school for their daughters to attend to, even if Izuku wants to get into the school. Which, after investigating and speaking with past students and those who were expelled, a common trend was found: Eraserhead, Shota Aizawa being the one who expelled the most students. Resulting in Queen Hippolyta being brought to the school staff room by Queen Torrent opening a portal and using the lasso of truth on the hero. I expelled the students that I would have to put effort into teaching and only kept the ones that I didn't have to work to teach, Aizawa said, forced to tell the truth. And the school just allows you to do it? Hippolyta asked. Yes, for years, Aizawa said, causing all eyes to look to Nizu, who shrinks under the stairs. And what you think of Izuku being a quirkless hero? Hippolyta asked. A waste of time, Aizawa said. Even seeing all that he has done? Hippolyta asked. Yes, Aizawa said. Because he doesn't have a quirk? Torrent asked. Yes, Aizawa said. Torrent zaps him with her staff, causing him to scream as he felt something being taken from him. What did you do? Aizawa asked. I took your quirk away. Let's see how good you are without your quirk, Torrent said as she held up a crystal. Your quirk is held here, and if it's broken there be no way for you to regain your lost quirk. Give it back, Aizawa said. Would you have done any of the things that Izuku did? Hippolyta asked. No, Aizawa said. This is a hero school, right? Torrent asked, looking at Nizu. Izuku has already proven himself to be more of a hero than what you allow to teach being what a hero should be, Hippolyta said. And any changes made is only because we revealed them for all to see. I would just fire you all and make sure you never have any position of authority over children again. And I'm the villain, Torrent said. Doesn't Izuku want to come here? Nizu asked. He's a young man surrounded by dozens of lovely young women. How hard you think it would be for them to change his mind? Especially with how bad this school is, being shown. Besides, my daughter needs in being a hero so that she can be more pragmatic and not learning to be lazy and corrupt, Torrent asked and held up the crystal with the stolen quirk inside. And if he wants to have his power back? Eraserhead just has to beat Hippolyta, Torrent said. Fight her? Aizawa asked. It be my pleasure to break you, little man, Hippolyta said. After all, you're an experienced hero, while Izuku had to wing it while facing off against the villains he had to face, or you're not up to it? Torrent asked. No, Aizawa said, who still has the lasso of truth around him. This school has very low standards. Must be marketing and making sure only the things that make the school look good become public knowledge is the reason why the school is so rated high. But it is only in Japan. I'm sure the other schools in the other countries are just as good as the marketing makes UA out to be. As they actually put effort and not just use the repetition to be better than they really are, Torrent said. Let's go, Hippolyta said, and Torrent opened a portal to allow them to head back to the UN of this world. Later. The Prime Minister of Japan rubbed his forehead, as Japan has been embarrassed in front of the world. All thanks to how the UA runs things, and what the Hero Public Safety Commission has allowed to happen. Which he has already berated them for, and now the room is silent as he took a break and think about what to do next. Wherever Izuku Midoriya goes, the girls will follow. Which said country will have the best trade deals and have better relations with the empires and kingdoms. We need to keep him here and not go to another country. I want all the other hero schools to clean house and not have a repeat of a public embarrassment of the UA to happen again. And I don't care what it will do, to any agency or hero or anything else. We need to regain the lost face, or I simply have you all replace or just make you the scrap goat as you're the ones who allowed it to happen in the first place, the Prime Ministers said to the commission heads. How should we get him to stay? The female president of the commission asked. Less I know the better, but remember, with that lasso of truth they can find out anything underhanded and anything else they haven't revealed yet. And remember, the girls all going to have diplomatic immunity as the children of heads of state. They are to be treated differently, and that goes for Midoriya as well, the Prime Minister said. By the way, how is it that Midoriya spent about 2 to 3 years traveling and was wished back just after he left? Why didn't 2 to 3 years pass before the girls all came for him? An aide asked. The imp caused it to happen, the Prime Minister said. The past. Izuku, Anne, Marcy, and Sasha screamed. Time stood still as the 3 human girls lost in the world of Amphibia, watch as the lone human boy, who is also ended up with them, was impaled by the energy sword of King Andreas, having pushed Marcy out of the way and into the portal with the Anne and the planters, but also causing her to drop the music box. You just have to get in the way, King Andreas said as he pulls out his sword and grabs Izuku in his hand and tosses him out of the window. We need to leave now, Grimes said, grabbing Sasha, and fled by the bird that Marcy used. They escaped the flying castle and flew low looking for Izuku, but soon had to flee as more of the robots came after them. Not knowing that Izuku had used his teleport gun to escape to another world. And watching from his castle, King Andreas watched them fled and looks down at his blood-covered hand from when he grabbed Izuku and tossed him. Those girls are close to Izuku, King Andreas said, with the crown linking him to the core. He turns to the robots in the room. Search for his body. The robots obeyed and flew to search the ground for the body of Izuku. While King Andreas heading down to the laboratory of the castle, now that it's fully powered he can access the advanced machines again, for a backup plan. For the invasion of Earth, the robot army needs to be replenished with new robots and lots of repairs needed to be done. It has been over 1,000 years since they last been activated, and it's surprising that many of the systems still work. Amphibia Earth. Finding themselves on the hood of a car, the 2 humans and the frog family of 3 ran off of the road and down the slope of the highway and into a nearby storm drain. Once they made it into the drain far enough, they caught their breath. And, Izuku, you think he's, Marcy asked, breaking down as the guilt of what she has done that lead all to this hits her. Maybe Sasha saved him like you did with Sprig, and said, trying to keep Marcy's and her own hopes up. But he was stab and toss out the, Marcy said before sobbing. Then we make sure he didn't give up his life for nothing, and said, her body glowing blue again. A Nile embassy was established in Japan as well as other countries of the world after talks between the different worlds ended. Which is where Izuku and his mother are currently staying at to get away from the crowds of reporters and other parties of interest. Their home was already ransacked by someone looking for the stuff that Izuku had taken from other worlds, but was scared off once the police showed up. Which is why Izuku and his mother Inko are now being housed in the Nile embassy, which is a ship that landed on the plot of land for the embassy. In their room, which is much bigger than their old home, the 2 are making themselves home, with their belongings being transported to the embassy. Izuku used the computer chip with the copy of Secundo that MSTR Cyclones or Lark made. Izuku uploaded the memory into the default AI of his SAC, getting back his friend. Lark also gave him back the stuff he was forced to leave behind when he had escaped. The Daijo, a high-tech combat staff that retracts to about half its length for storage. It can channel energy, empowering its strikes after a moment's charge. And Izuku has improved on it since he first got it from Jade. A picture of him with Jade, Page, and the 6 kids who all love at the lighthouse. There is also the big white dog named, Woof. Yoa, a girl with long blue hair, pale blue skin, facial markings under her eyes, and she wears a long white dress. Zaza, a short and has pale skin and short, dark red hair that is parted over her right eye. Zaza wears a green bandana, an orange-striped long-sleeve shirt and a dark green dress. Umi, a female Capra sapiens, and wears a red sweater, tight-fitting orange-striped pants and dark boots. Fen, a male Capra sapiens, wears a light brown tank top, brown striped pants and brown shoes. Pablo, a boy who is the oldest who wears circular glasses, a tank top and sporting a goatee. Kip, a boy who wears a long-sleeved, dark green shirt, blue pants with a black stripe down the side and brown loafer-type shoes. You made friends with those kids? Inko asked, looking at the picture as well as others that Secundo provided. Yes, I became friends with them during the 2 weeks I stayed there. Jade thought I should at least know how to defend myself before I left and have what I needed to survive the worst. My smartphone proved to be a big windfall for the lighthouse after Page made some arrangements with some people he knows and sold the blueprints. When I left, Hillis was under attack by aliens called Dom Z. I hope they're okay, Izuku said, sitting on a sofa with his mom. The next item Secundo pulled out is a banjo, a gift from Wander. Wander is a true hero. He saves the day by distracting the villains who are so powerful that they use a scoreboard of how many planets they have conquered to show their ranking. You can't be a villain in that dimension without at least one planet under their control, Izuku said, plucking a tune from the banjo. The next item is a ring. The balance ring. It protects me from confusion. It's the only thing left I have from the world Momo and Honey are from. It's a fantasy world setting where magic is common and items with status effects like in games are common too, Izuku said. The next item is a green bowler hat. That came from the world of P.P. Tracy, the United States, during the years where gangsters bootlegged moonshine. Had to hide my green hair, Izuku said, as people in that world thought it was strange that he had green hair. You've been through a lot, Inko said, picking up the hat and found a bullet hole in it. I made friends and left them as I search for a way home. And done things just to survive that I'm not proud of, Izuku said, holding an arrow that he used to save Katniss at the cost of his innocence. Izuku, where was this taken? Inko asked, showing him a picture of Izuku with 3 kids with a giant robot. Miko Nakadai, Jack Darby, Raphael, Raph, Esquivel and Bulkhead the giant robot. I meet them while I was on the Earth that's connected to Equestria. That Earth has a secret war between 2 factions of giant robots from space, going on. There is also a USA military special forces G.I. Joes who fight against a worldwide terrorist organization, Cobra, Izuku said. A large jar made a thump sound as it was taken out of storage by Secundo, followed by 8 more jars. Ranging from 3 feet tall to just foot. I thought Lark had taken all the treasures I picked up, Izuku said. She thought the jars were just junk, Secundo said. Treasures? Inko asked, walking over to the jars. There were some worlds where I found valuables like copper, silver, and gold coins. Worlds that are dead or places that are abandoned. So I helped myself to the treasures, seeing how there wasn't anyone who would miss them. I even found a treasure cave underwater and took what I could get. So that I have something to use to buy things, and when I get back home, have a nest egg, Izuku said. Copper, silver, gold, coins, jewelry, gems, pearls. Inko asked as one jar is filled with pearls. Oh yeah, the world with the pearl-spitting clams, Izuku said. The movie those 2 chaos spirits showed skipped many worlds we've been to, Secundo said. A chest appeared that has rupees in it. And that's from the world where Zelda comes from. They use gemstones as money there as there's just so many of them, Izuku said. The door of their room opened, letting in Pharaoh Yosira and Cleopatra. So how you and your mom like the room? Cleopatra asked. It's bigger than our apartment, Izuku said. Is it really? Necessarily for us to move in here? Inko asked. I'm afraid it is. The ransacking was done by a villain who was looking for the advanced technology that Izuku has, only thanks to him hiding it well that it wasn't discovered. There are plenty of people including governments who want the technology you have, Izuku. And you already know what people are willing to do to get it, Yosira said. I do, Izuku said, remembering how in some worlds he had to flee as people wanted his technology. You'll be safer here with your mother, Yosira said. This group marriage, are you all okay with it? Inko asked. Met with MDM Raz and she mistakes me for Cleopatra and her for Opala, wondering why she changed her hair color as she has her father's green hair, Yosira said. MDM Raz has the ability to see the past, present and future all at once. She gets really confused, Izuku said, having dealt with the old woman before. Which means she sees a future where you and me are married, Cleopatra said. Along with the other girls, Yosira said. That too, thanks to Loverboy, Cleopatra said, giving Izuku a flat stare. I had no idea that was happening, Izuku said. This is just like so many love comedies and harems, the male lead being completely clueless, Inko said, shaking her head at how clueless Izuku is with girls. I danced naked for you. Me, a princess, danced naked for you, Cleopatra said. Culture thing, Izuku said, and sweated under the glare from Cleopatra. Mom, was Dad like this? Cleopatra asked. No, as he was courting me and had to deal with the others who are also after my hand in marriage, Yosira said. You had lots of suitors? Inko asked. As Empress I am expected to have children as heirs to the empire. My husband Alexandra had many rivals to win me over, Yosira said. You're so lucky you don't have to deal with that, Cleopatra said as she planted herself on Izuku's lap, sitting sideways on him. You're so lucky, I like you already. Can you get off? Izuku asked, blushing. No, Cleopatra said. There is also another matter, Yosira said as she brings up a screen showing emails from a number of high-end hero schools around the world. Which hero school do you want to go? I did wanted to go to UA, but after that live broadcast, Izuku said, remembering what Eraserhead had said about him. You already proven yourself to be more of a hero than any of those pro heroes. Better than All Might, as he hasn't saved or helped in saving the world. All he has done is beat some villains who aren't even a worldwide threat, or ones who are so powerful they can take over an entire planet by themselves, like those villains you helped Wander and Sylvia take care of, Cleopatra said. Besides, it's just an overhyped school that has its reputation due to marketing. You really want to go to a school with teachers like that? The school is being changed due to the public shaming, and most of the teachers and staff have their hero licenses and teaching certificates revoked. They're doing all that so that you, Izuku, won't go to another country. Which Cleopatra and the others would all follow you too, which would also be where the trade negotiations will take place and have first picks, Yosira said. I used to work in a trade firm and been getting calls and emails from my old boss and co-workers asking for some favors, Inko said. Which reminds me, don't fall for any girl around here suddenly paying you attention. There be plenty of honey traps to get close to you, Cleopatra said. But Sunset can read minds by just touching them, and there is Diana's lasso of truth, Izuku said. Yes, but it doesn't mean some government agencies won't be planting girls and others to get close to you. Or boys to try to lure us away, Cleopatra said. You think that would happen? Inko asked. It happens, people planted knowingly or unknowingly to have the outcome desired to happen. UA is being changed from top to bottom to make sure that Izuku will want to go there. There's much to gain by you staying in Japan, and the ones in charge are doing what they can to make sure you stay, Yosira said. UA. Mirai Sasaki, the pro-hero, Sir Night Eye, is using his quirk to see a person's future, along with several others heroes and those who work for the government who have similar quirks to see the best possible future where Midoriya and the princesses stay in Japan. The teachers and staff who would cause trouble are just done away with and replaced by the ones who have positive interactions with Midoriya and the princesses. Everything has to be perfect so that Midoriya and the princesses won't be leaving Japan for another country. What of the other schools? the government official who is in charge? Suki asked. She's in the staff meeting room with the remaining school staff as well, have computers on video chat connected to all the other hero schools. Shiketsu High is a no-go as the school doesn't allow romantic relationships. Same goes for the all-boys and all-girls schools. Ketsubutsu Academy, Isamu High School, and some others have some success, Sir Nightai said. Some isn't good enough, we need to get Midoriya to want to stay in Japan. Can't have him or any of his group have a bad experience. There's too much riding on this, as well as getting back the reputation lost because of Eraserhead and the staff that allowed him to do what he wanted, Suki said, and looks at the remaining old staff of the school. Remember, your jobs are on the line, you mess up. You join the others in the employment line. Besides the general education teachers, janitors and maintenance workers, the only ones left of the old staff are Higuri Maijima, Power Loader. Ainin Kuros, 13. Sekijiro Kan, Vlad King. Ryo Inui, Hound Dog. Lunch Rush. They're only allowed to stay as they're the ones who voice against how Eraserhead teaches. Who is now jobless as a teacher and as a pro hero, who also has lost his quirk. Which has caused many people to be interested in the technology that allows one to steal quirks. Being used in the prison system would help keeping the most dangerous villains under control. We need to somehow get Midoriya and his girls to stay in Japan. Which we only have a 20% chance of that happening. Which is still better than what it would have been without the purging of the school. Justice High in the USA is sending over Underfist, the retired hero-turned-teacher, who is quirkless, to talk to Midoriya into going to the America. They, unlike us, have a long history of quirkless heroes. So this is what is going to happen. This school as well as other schools are either have quirkless students or they be shut down. The quirkless students are allowed support items and other weapons. Seeing how Midoriya was able to fight those villains in the other worlds and how heroes using gadgets works in both the United States of this world and other worlds. The hero agencies are also being told to have quirkless heroes. Can't have him being the only quirkless hero, as that only sends the message that we only want him because of what his girlfriends can provide. And that just leads him leaving, Suki said. What does happen if he leaves? Lunch Rush asked. A deep economy recession that lasts for years, and that's the best outcome me and the others have seen, Sir Nightai said. Which is why the exam for entrance of the school will be waived off for Midoriya and his group. Seeing how he has already done more than any pro hero has done. How many heroes you know who has saved multiple worlds? Suki asked, causing the room and the video chats to the other schools to be silent. And that's why he gets in, as he has nothing to prove to any of you. In the Nile embassy, Inko felt very self-conscious of herself as she sat with Celestia, the mother of Sunset Shimmer. Her quirk telekinesis that only allows her to pull light things to her, while is the same type of power, is nothing compared to Celestia, who is able to move planets and stars with her telekinesis. And that she's also a giantess at over 9 feet tall and has a very voluptuous body that the white dress she's wearing doesn't hide at all. Melons that are bigger than Inko's head and wide waist, and an equal-sized peach and a powerful body. Her mountainous melons is exposed by a circular window in her dress, and the hems of her skirt went far up her thighs, revealing the sides of her powerful legs. Along with her long and multicolored hair that goes down to her knees, a white coat, a unicorn horn on her forehead, horse ears, tail, large white wings, made her beauty unearthly. Looking at Sunset with her busty body, who has G-cups, and how tall she is at 6 feet 11 inches, that she looks older than her age of 15. And looking at her mother, it's clear that she has lots of growing to do before she matches her mother. Both of them are alicorns, one of 4 types of their race called ponies, as their race has subspecies, all of whom can interbreed with each other. So much in fact that 2 earth ponies can have children that are either a unicorn or Pegasus because of having a grandparent who was either Pegasus ponies with a light but powerful body, and are the smallest of the ponies. A fully grown Pegasus rarely ever grows taller than under 7 feet. They can walk on clouds and move them around, giving them some control over the weather. They also use wind magic to help them fly and create powerful gust of wind. Unicorns, who all naturally can use magic. Their horns on their forehead helps in controlling the magical energy. Standard height is under 8 feet. They're also the weakest physically compared to the other pony races, but still much stronger than any human. Earth ponies are the largest and strongest of the pony race. Standard height is under 9 feet. They're able to use earth magic, which helps in growing plants and allows them to locate rare earths and metals. Alicorns are the perfect mix of all three races of ponies blended into one. Far stronger, powerful and faster, also the longest lived, with Celestia and her sister Luna being over 1,000, and still going strong. Sunset is with her ladies-in-waiting and bodyguards the Shadow Bolts. Indigo Zap leading the team made up of Sugarcoat, Sour Sweet, Lemon Zest, Sunny Flare, and Juniper Montage. The later having stayed behind to cover the others when they went to Earth to get Izuku. All of them tall and shapely like Sunset thanks to their training, that are shown off by their gray uniforms that they wear. Indigo Zap is extremely competitive and has an unbridled passion for winning, a light amber gray mare with E-cups, dark blue and cerulean hair with arctic blue streaks. Standing at 6 feet tall with a slender but powerful build. She is a Pegasus with large wings on her back, and like all Pegasus ponies she is immune to electricity, high tolerance for extreme heat and cold. She's also the fastest in flight speed. Sugarcoat, who displays an overly blunt, cynical attitude towards others, pointing out their faults without hesitation. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches, a bluish-gray mare with F-cups and opal-gray hair with arctic bluish-gray streaks. Hers was usually done up in twin ponytails. She's a unicorn having a horn on her forehead. She's a skilled magic user, having studied with Sunset in learning magic, skilled in white magic. Lemon Zest demonstrates the behavior of a wild, obnoxious rocker girl. Standing over 7 feet tall, a grayish amaranth mare with H-cups and light pistachio hair with grayish-green and lime-green streaks. She's an earth pony with a powerful body who is super strong even for an earth pony. She also isn't a simple brute reliant on her strength alone and is in fact a highly skilled fighter. Sour Sweet has somewhat of a bipolar personality where she alternates between being sarcastic and rude sour and obnoxiously nice sweet. She's a pale, light gold mare with rose-colored freckles on her cheeks, upper part of her F-cup melons, shoulders, and peach. Her hair was a mix of rose shades with a streak of aquamarine. It was usually done up in a ponytail. She's a Pegasus who stand at 6 feet 3 inches tall. She's skilled in multiplying the weather. Sunny Flare is the most poised of her teammates, having elegant and self-confident mannerisms, but with an arrogant, rude, and aloof demeanor. A light turquoise mare with E-cups and grayish mulberry hair with light raspberry streaks. She's a unicorn who stands at 6 feet 7 inches tall. She's a skilled magic user, skilled in black magic. Juniper Montage is the brains and the most cunning of her team, who is also greedy. Her mane is a strong cerulean with moderate arctic blue streaks in 2 ponytails. Her coat is a pale light grayish olive. She's an earth pony who stands at over 7 feet, who has H-cups. She's a skilled tactical fighter, who doesn't just rely on her super strength. The 7 girls have Izuku and Cleopatra surrounded on another sofa, as they're spending time with him as Inko and Celestia talk about the future. Mostly about the culture norms of ponies and how they see no problem in a group marriage, and Cleopatra is learning about her future fellow wives. The pony males are fewer in number than females, and because of having their own earth in their dimension and contact between their worlds, they know they can breed with humans. Seeing how Izuku is still young and is still in his growing phase, some magical supplements and potions will help his growth. It will strengthen his body and increase his endurance and stamina, Celestia said. You're going to need it, Juniper teased Izuku. That's for sure, Cleopatra said to Izuku as she's sitting on his left while Sunset is on his right, pinning him between them. Who, like Inko, is very self-aware that the ponies are way more busted than she is, not to mention taller. So all of this is just normal. Sharing a husband? Inko asked. Yes, it is. females of our race either form a herd around a male we all like or like mom go on wild flings with any male, Sunset said. Sunset, Celestia said frowning at her daughter and causing all but Sunset to cower. You and Sunset don't get along? Inko asked looking between the two. Sadly yes, Celestia said. You're at your rebel phase? Cleopatra asked Sunset. It's more than that, for most of my life I didn't even know mom was my mom. She raised me as a student till I had enough and ran away into the magic mirror that sent me to Earth transforming me as a human. Her other student Twilight Sparkle came for me after I stole the crown of friendship, a powerful magic item. Was forced back where thanks to the magic surge, gave me the growth spurt I needed to become an alicorn. Which was only then and there that mom told me the truth that she's my mom. And has been trying to form a bond with me since, Sunset explained. You never told her you were her mother? Inko asked as Celestia. It's a mistake, I have been doing my best to make up for, Celestia answers. Too late for that, Sunset said. Lots of drama? Cleopatra asked Izuku. Just like how I remember, Izuku said. Next day. Inko is now talking with Queen Rainbow, the mother of Rainbow Bright, with her husband King Rainbow. Along with the parents of Canary Yellow, Indigo Doll, Shy Violet, Tickled Pink, Stormy, and Moonglow, who had stayed behind to man the portal machine. All of them are seated around the dining table while the kids are together at the TV, all enjoying strawberry shortcakes. Rainbow Bright also gave Izuku the magic ring of hollow light that transforms Izuku into the Sentinel of Light. My power is controlling weather and I can ride on clouds, Stormy said as she explains her and her friends' powers to Cleopatra, even the ones who aren't there. Rainbow Bright has the power of rainbows and can purify. Red Butler has fire power and is the fastest runner. Lala Orange has earth powers and is strong. Canary Yellow has light powers and can fly. Patty O'Green has plant powers and can talk to animals. Indigo Doll has lightning powers and can teleport. Shy Violet has wind powers and is the smart one. Buddy Blue has water powers and can turn invisible. Tickle Pink has healing powers and can sense other emotions. Moonglow has darkness powers and can teleport from shadows. And you all control colors for the earth of your dimension? Cleopatra asked. Yes, on our dimension Rainbow Land is where color comes from, Rainbow Bright said. And where did you get this strawberry cake? Cleopatra asked. From Big Apple City on our Earth, Canary Yellow said. How are Strawberry and the others? Izuku asked. She and the others are okay, Moonglow said. Strawberry? Cleopatra asked. A girl named Strawberry Shortcake, she and a bunch of others who run food trucks are all named after foods, Izuku said. Named after food? Cleopatra asked. I learned not to question it. Lots of worlds I've been to are strange from what I'm used to. A world where children act like adults and adults act like children, a world where everyone needs to wear a hat, a world where bands battle each other for fans. And I mean as in them bringing out weapons to fight other bands, Izuku said. I don't remember seeing that, Tickle Pink said. The movie skipped many worlds I visited. Like one of the worlds I stopped at was a world that has sapient hamsters living in human as, Izuku said, causing everyone to stare at him. I have so many questions, and one of them is why you said that, as I just lost my appetite, Indigo Doll said and blocked the hand from Tickle Pink who was reaching for her strawberry cake. That doesn't mean I'm not going to keep my cake for later. I can see why that wasn't shown, Shy Violet said, her mind racing in how a world like that works. But now, I can't help but wonder how as hamster dimension works, Rainbow Bright said. Next day. Inko is talking with Moon and River Butterfly, with Kelly's and Higgs's parents. While Izuku and Cleopatra is with Star, Kelly, and Higgs in Izuku's room. Trading stories and telling Cleopatra of the things Izuku did while in Muni. Izuku went and dressed up as a girl to get into St. Olga's Reform School for Wayward Princesses. Cleopatra asked. To save Ponyhead and ended with Izuku causing a riot as he inspired the other princesses there to revolt, Star said using her magic to create a slideshow showing what happened when she, Izuku, Kelly, and Higgs sneaked into the school. Then Izuku's dress got ripped off and revealed himself to be a boy. And the other princesses all first stared at him like starving wolves being presented with a big piece of meat and dog piled on him, Higgs said with the next picture showing her and Star trying to free Izuku from the mob of princesses all wanting a piece of Izuku. I sneaked him out by pulling him into my hair, Kelly said with the picture of her and the girls running out of the school. Too bad, Ponyhead spoke out loud about the plan and how I dressed like a girl to get in, Izuku said as the next picture has the other princesses all running out as well after the girls. So are you going to grow as big as your mom? Cleopatra asked Kelly. That's a coin flip as I could take after my dad in that department, Kelly said. Star is the wand is fix. Izuku asked seeing how the wand is still missing half of the star gem when he left. Yeah, it's fixed after dealing with Toffee, Star said causing Izuku's eyes to widen. But he was killed in the blast, Cleopatra said. Yes, but remember he was smiling as the wand was blowing up. That's never a good sign, Kelly said. He had a backup plan and was controlling Ludo by the other half of the wand gem, Higgs said. What? Izuku asked. It's a long story, Star said. The girls told Izuku and Cleopatra what happened after Izuku left Muni. The next day. While Inko is hosting the parents who know about their daughter's secret life as superheroes. The girls Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Green Lantern, Zatanna, Supergirl, Bumblebee, and Harley Quinn are with Cleopatra and Izuku in his room. Which Cleopatra is excited meeting them, as superhero fiction is still a thing in her universe. Wait, you went on a multiverse journey in their universe of alternate universes of their world? Cleopatra asked. Yes, and Batman in most of those worlds is a prick, Izuku said. Yeah, most of them have the mindset that anyone who kills is just killer who will kill again. That any cop who killed someone to save someone else's life can't ever be trusted, Batgirl said insulted as her dad is a cop. I used my lasso on those Batmans and they completely believed that CRP, Wonder Woman said. Good thing we were sent to that world where Joker became sane and that Batman revealed that he has a self-righteous SDSM streak and his vigilantism is less about justice and more about control, and it's a way of salvaging what's left of his soul, Zatanna said. He's also blind to the real problems of Gotham, the massive amount of wealthy families still living in Gotham despite the city being overrun with crime and poverty is because of a real estate scam. Rich developers like Pierce Chapman buy up marked-down properties from the city in areas where Batman fights crime, then quickly flip them for profit rather than demolish them and construct something new, Green Lantern said. Really stick it to those Batmans, Supergirl said. But that Adam West, Batman was great. He has a no-killing rule because he believes that deep down people can be good if given a chance to change, Harley Quinn said. Man, I wish I could be his sidekick, he's great, Izuku said. Me too, Batgirl said but did like that 60s version of her in that world. The next day. While Inko is talking with the girls' parents, Iris, Talia, Oriana, Carissa, and Lina are with Izuku and Cleopatra in his room. So you're a lost princess who was raised on Earth and had to fight a villain to reclaim the throne? Cleopatra asked having been told about the adventures Izuku had with the girls. Now that everything is taken care of, I've been bonding with my parents and learning how to be a princess, Iris said. We had to stop preforming to allow Iris to rest, Talia said. Iris has to learn how to be a ruler now and all that entails, Adriana adds. Been there, been raised to know how to act and all the other rules someone who is to rule needs to know, Cleopatra said. Well, it's much harder for me. I have to learn to be a princess when I had no idea I was one, Iris said. You should talk with Sunset. She didn't know she was a princess for most of her life as well, Izuku said. You think she can help? Carissa asked knowing how much pressure Iris is under now that the kingdom is being rebuilt. Maybe, but she is very forceful and blunt as she knows she's powerful and smart, Izuku said. So. She thinks she's better than other people but has the power and brains to back it up. Lina asked. Yup, and spending all that time with her, I know that for sure. She hates her mother Celestia for keeping that she's her mother from her for most of her life, and has driven her to be better than her mother in every way possible, Izuku said. I should talk with her and get some pointers, Iris said. The next day. Inko is with the parents of Bloom, Stella, Flora, Musa, Tekna, Aisha, and Roxy in the dining room. The girls are with Izuku and Cleopatra in his room. Where the 7 fairies are once again empowering their knight with their magic, granting Izuku abilities like out of a video game. They're all standing around in a circle with Izuku in the middle, as they channel their magic into him. From Bloom, he gains an increase of his strength. Stella, he gains an increase of his speed. Flora, he gains an increase of his defense. Musa, he gains an increase of his agility. Tekna, he gains an increase of his intelligence. Aisha, he gains an increase of his spirit. Roxy, he gains an increase of his health. What does spirit do? Cleopatra asked. It protects against magic and energy attacks, Izuku said. Also the outfits, are they supposed to be so revealing and skimpy? Cleopatra asked. It's just how it is, Bloom said. At least your group are not like Sunset and her group, they're much more impressive, Cleopatra said. But then again there is Celestia who wears that dress. Celestia is very intimidating, Izuku said, remembering the first time meeting her face to face. Gee, thanks for reminding us, Stella said, not liking how Sunset and her group are bustier than they are, and her mother leaves their moms intimidated. How are things in the realm since I was around? Izuku asked. Quite after you drained the tricks of their magic. They were executed for their crimes, Tekna said. And their spirits were destroyed as well, so they can't ever come back, Aisha adds. Good, they won't be able to cause trouble anymore, Izuku said, as some people being killed is the only way it could end for them. He learned that the hard way, as some people it's just best to kill than let them live. There is also this, Bloom said, showing Izuku the Shingon with the Mantis flip coin that allows the user to jump higher. I thought it was lost, Izuku said, as most of the Wu were either destroyed or lost. It turned up in a pawn show on Earth. I brought it and Bloom has been using it since, Roxy said. Thank you, Izuku said. So all of you combine your magic and give it to Izuku to power him up? Cleopatra asked. Yes, but it does wear off and I need to be recharged by them, Izuku said, feeling the old power boost. The next day. Inko talked with the mothers of the princesses who are also the guardians of their planets. The Sailor Guardians in their universe are women who hold the power of their planet and act as their protectors. With the power only going to females and can be passed down from mother to daughter, many of the Guardians are also the queens of their worlds. And the Moon Guardians were originally the Earth Guardian but was changed after the capital was placed on the Moon. That's the reason why there's no Earth Guardian, is because a past queen moved the capital to the Moon. Cleopatra asked. The Moon was originally a fortress to protect Earth, but over time it became the capital, Usagi said. So where's the Guardian of Pluto? Cleopatra asked. She's an adult, Ami said. Way too old to be Izuku, without looking desperate, Rei adds. And what about her? Cleopatra asked, looking at Hataru, who is 9. She can wait a few years to be of age, Michiru said. No fair, Hataru said. And before you asks, we renamed the plant to be Arenas, and we doesn't actually live on the gas planet, we live on one of the moons like the others who have gas planets, Haruka said. The gas planets are where we collect gases from, Makoto adds. Same with my empire, Cleopatra said. Also, what's with the swimsuits with miniskirts? I don't get why people from other universes find what we were strange, Minako said. The next day. After dealing with so many high-class parents, dealing with Ruby's parents Agatha, who works as a real estate agent, and Arthur Gilman, who are sharing stories of what Izuku and Ruby were up to while he was in their world. Ruby brought along EDE, who wants to once again be Izuku's companion again. The beeps are binary, Cleopatra said as she's slowly getting the hang of the beeps the iBot is making. We've been through a lot. EDE is an iBot prototype, albeit for an upgraded series of iBot that never went into production rather than iBots as a whole. EDE is made of the same materials used to make Hellfire armor, can carry more than 200 pounds, and his laser isn't anything to laugh at. His sensors also can detect even cloak enemies, and after some upgrades and repairs I did, got him back to working at full capacity, Izuku said. Dr. Mobius has been making lots of improvements with the robots and gotten a military contract as well in search and rescue. The iBots are being used first to test the market. They've been given to ships at Oceanside, serving both as GPS and thanks to their long-range scanners can be used to find anyone who is shipwrecked or adrift at sea. And Ironsides and his crew are now a part of the Navy, Ruby said. Nice to see they're all doing well, Izuku said, missing his crew. So you Krakens are the protectors of the seas against evil mermaids? Cleopatra asked. Yes, it sounds weird. Mermaids lure ships to their doom so that they can plunder the cargo. We Krakens battle them to stop that from happening. Since revealing ourselves we've been more open with the humans, Ruby said. And your mother left that all behind to live on land? Cleopatra asked. Yes, she just wanted a quiet life after the war, Ruby said. Whatever happened to that giant robot? Cleopatra asked. The government took it, Ruby said. The next day. Inko is with Ursa talking about how the misunderstanding caused Azula to have a breakdown and fell into a depression. Being the reason why she traveled into the spirit world looking for a way to travel to other worlds to find Izuku. Now Azula is both happy that she didn't break Izuku's heart and angry about it. Come on, Tai Lee said, urging Azula to open up to Izuku now that they have some alone time with him. You said how you wanted to be with him again, June said. You really must have missed me, Izuku said, causing Azula to blush as she was a swirl of emotions. Come on, just admit you love Izuku and get it over with, Cleopatra said, having learned what happened after Izuku left and how it devastated Azula. It's okay, we can just be like this till you're ready, Izuku said, knowing the trauma that Azula has been through with her father, driving her to be prefect. Azula suddenly latched herself to Izuku and buried her face into his chest, and Izuku wrapped his arms around her and held her. They stayed like that for a long time as Azula clung to Izuku like a lifeline. And the other girls let her, seeing how much of a wreck she is and needs Izuku the most. The next day. Inko felt intimidated by the openly evil Queen Torrent of the Cyclonia Empire, being something that the villains of this world can only dream of. She is also all for her daughter Mstr Cyclones, or Lark as that's her real name, but only her parents and Izuku call her that. She wants Lark to be more pragmatic, and he helps to balance Lark out as her husband. His ideas he gave Lark. That she followed has what allowed the Cyclonia Empire to expand and grow in power. Cleopatra and Izuku are with Lark in Izuku's room, all on the sofa. Lark has been telling and showing Izuku what she has done since he left, using the equipment that she took and kept from him. She's been using the Eye of Dashi to provide free power to her planet that is now ruled by her parents, and the Orb of Tornami providing clean drinking water. The resources of the dead and empty worlds have made the Empire prosperous. Well, that is fine, as that's only one world and a few colonies on the worlds you're getting resources from. But the Nile Empire is most of the galaxy, which has been built up slowly for thousands of years, Cleopatra said, looking at the screen with Lark. Expand too fast and it will just fall apart. That I agree on. My world of Atmos is made up of habitable terrace that are large stilted areas that rise into the sky of various sizes, and below that, the wastelands, a vast uninhabitable place of lava, treacherous rock formations and dangerous creatures. There is the far side that is blocked off by mountains that can't be passed even with airships. The kingdoms survived by raiding and stealing from each other because of the limited resources. My family started off as heroes who brought down the warlords that plagued the lands, raiding and pillaging, not caring about the future. My family has since ruled with harsh laws and punishments, but they work, Lark said. The regime of your family is brutal, but brought peace and stability to your lands. Without your kingdom the other kingdoms would have just fight among each other, Cleopatra said. According to the history books, we began expanding because of the other kingdoms kept on attacking our kingdom, Lark said. And now that your family rule your world, you now have the task of actually running it and keep it all together. Which is what separates the rulers from the myopic conquerors. As the myopic conqueror, while great on the battlefield and in a war economy, from the history of my galaxy have run their conquered lands into disrepair, as they just aren't good at ruling and care more about their own pleasures than keeping their kingdoms running. They usually run things to the grounds, unable to do the administration part of ruling, try to flee when they see everything falling apart with as much loot as they can carry, or cling to power and end up killed or imprisoned. Wanting all the power but none of the responsibilities, Cleopatra said. Which is what separates my family from the others. We actually do take ruling seriously, we use the carrot and stick, even the Stormhawks have realized that my family's rule is better for everyone. We're harsh but fair to the people we rule, Lark said. Can you two get off of me? Izuku asked, as both Cleopatra and Lark have been using his lap as their seat instead of the sofa. Each of them are sitting on one of his legs and trapping him underneath them. No, both girls said as they pressed themselves down on his lap. You have the nerve to see everything I had you did as my personal servant as just your duties. Letting you eat with my family, how I allow you to get away with things that I don't allow any other to do. Like using my real name. Having you wash me in the bath? Lark asked. He's a clueless idiot, but he's our idiot who we're going to have to train not to be clueless, Cleopatra said. Train me? Izuku asked, worried. Mom did suggest me having you chain up so that you won't run away again. But seeing how I'm going to be sharing you with others, I won't have to do much in keeping you in line. Besides, when you need to be reminded the hard way. I'm the token evil member of this soon-to-be family after all, Lark said, smiling wickedly. You pissed me and the others off, where what Kelly's mom did to Kelly's dad of putting him in the hospital sounds like a good idea. But since you know now, we're going to make sure you remember, and that you're very lucky in getting us to fall for you when you're way out of your class level when it comes to having us girls in love with you, Cleopatra said. I know, I had just thought all of you were just my friends, Izuku said, looking sad, which caused both Cleopatra and Lark to think how cute he looks. You're so lucky that you're cute, Lark said. And you can make it up to us, Cleopatra said. The next day. While Inko is talking with the parents, in Izuku's room, Adora, Glimmer, and Katra are telling him what happened after Horde Prime was killed. With Etheria back to real space and the sky filled with stars again, they were soon contacted by Eternia, whose world is advanced both in magic and technology. Adora meeting her BRTH parents and her twin brother Adam. She was teleported to Etheria by Skeletor, a warlord from the Dark Hemisphere of Eternia. Wait, this Skeletor guy only has less than a dozen evil warriors, and that's enough to be a global threat? Cleopatra asked. They're that powerful, Adora said. Adora's home world is on another level. Hordak needed an army to conquer, while Skeletor only has a few warriors who are just that powerful, Katra said. Reminds me of the universe of Wander. The villains there look lame and weird, but the villains use a scoreboard to show their ranks by who has conquered the most worlds. Something the so-and-so is an insecure and pathetic excuse for a villain. He wears a beanie, a tea kettle mask, a mitten, a RBB glove, briefs over long underwear, a scuba flipper, a green pump, and a blue cape. But he's strong enough to have conquered 2 planets by himself and keep other villains from taking them, Izuku said, causing the others in the room to feel dread at the thought of any of those villains showing up. Also, Izuku, I forgot to tell you this last time. Thank you for getting my mom back, Glimmer said. That reminds me, Katra said as she dope slaps the back of Izuku's head. That's for shoving me and Adora into the escape pod. We could help you, Adora said, remembering watching as the pod fell back down to the planet as the flagship that was burning disappeared into a portal. You saw what happened. I only survived because of Hordak pinning Horde Prime and getting the portal gun. I only survived my wounds because Zelda found me. And I knew it was a one-way trip, and the best I could hope for was to delay Prime long enough to kill him when the ship blew up, Izuku said. You idiot, Katra said as she hugs him, followed by the others. Next day. Inko was amazed at what Queen Zelda told her of her adventures with Link the hero. How Link awakened 100 years after the rise of the Calamity Ganon, a malicious entity that destroyed the kingdom of Hyrule, with only Zelda managing to hold it back from inside Hyrule Castle. Then how while exploring the depths underneath Hyrule Castle, she and Link found the ruins of Hyrule's ancient founders, the Zonai and the reawakening demon King Ganondorf. Afterwards she went to work rebuilding her kingdom and Link stayed on as her knight. She married a noble from another land for political reason and had Zelda. With Link her lifelong friend remaining as her knight. The firstborn daughter is always named Zelda? Cleopatra asked. Yes, it's an ancient tradition, Zelda said as she's in Izuku's room with Izuku and Cleopatra. And Link and your mother were never romantically engaged? Cleopatra asked. No, Uncle Link and Mother are just good friends, they did dated but nothing ever came out of it, Zelda said. Zelda, are you sure about this? Izuku asked. Mother is powerful in magic, but isn't much in combat. This hero school will be a good place for me to learn to defend myself and learn to use my magic in other ways, Zelda said. Speaking of which, seeing how the school you wanted to go is bad and while they are making changes to how it's run and fired some of the old staff and bringing in new ones. They're only doing that because of the public shaming that was done to them. Why not go to another school? Besides, it's not like there are any quirkless heroes in Japan, they're all about flashy heroes with powers, Cleopatra said. I met heroes even greater than All Might and they didn't have powers. And being home and seeing it with new eyes, I see how Japan wouldn't be welcoming of a quirkless hero, Izuku said. So why not go to a school in a country that has quirkless heroes already? Just as high in the United States is sending that quirkless hero, Underfist over here to give you a sales pitch, Cleopatra said. The Japanese government is only making changes to keep you here, which would cause all of us to stay here as well. I have been approached by people who want to make deals, Zelda said. That's normal for me, people wanting to get close to me because I'm the heir to the Nile Empire. There be guys making moves on us as well, to get us to fall for them instead. And girls throwing themselves at Izuku, the gold diggers, the ones who want fame and the ones who have ties to governments or other groups, Cleopatra said. And we're not letting you just go along with this ruse, Zelda said. Had this done in some worlds that figure out I have advanced technology or a portal gun, Izuku said. Atmos. MSTR Cyclones wonders what her mother is planning as she follows her. They enter a chamber and the sight before MSTR Cyclones caused her to phase, seeing all the naked flesh before her. The chamber is one of the rooms used to host guests and is hosting young women around her age, all of them naked. These are kunoichis from that ninja school world that Izuku visited. They are the Hamura Crimson Squad. For reasons of their own, the 5 former Hebiho elites chose to let their school burn rather than defend it to the death. 6 months later, they continue to pay for that decision. Together on the run, they live as renegades, eking out a menial living by day, keeping one eye open every night. With their school rebuilt and out for BLD, it's only a matter of time before they face their final reckoning. Till I found them and gave them a chance to start over, Torrent explained to her daughter. Hamura, a tan-skinned, long dark-haired kunoichi who fights by wielding 6 katanas at the same time. Hamura's elemental affinity is fire. Yomi, a blonde-haired kunoichi who uses a massive claymore-like sword and a cannon. Yomi's elemental affinity is wind. Hikage, a short green-haired kunoichi who uses a knife. Hikage's affinity is poison. Mirai, a long black-haired short girl wearing an eye patch, who uses an umbrella that is a concealed firearm and she hides other heavy weapons in her clothes. Haruka, a short-haired dark blonde kunoichi who uses chemical weapons and puppetry, concealing the inner workings of her strategies under her white coat. The others are fellow kunoichis from the same school who were all brainwashed till they were freed and joined the others on the run, Torrent said to the other 5 girls. Miyabi, a short white-haired kunoichi who uses a cursed 7-pronged sword. Murasaki, a long purple-haired kunoichi who uses giant shurikens attached to her hair. Murasaki's affinity is darkness. Imu, a short blonde-haired glasses-wearing kunoichi who uses a Shaolin staff that she can increase the size of. Imu's elemental affinity is lightning. Ryobi, a brown long-haired kunoichi who uses a musket. Is the younger twin sister of Roina. Ryona, a short blonde-haired kunoichi who uses 2 quad handguns. Ryona's affinity is ice. All 10 of them were on the run and being chased by their former school. Now they will be your personal bodyguards, and spies. They also were after Izuku when he was in their world, having befriended them before it was discovered the advanced technology he had that caused all the schools to send out their ninjas to capture him. And as you can see, all of them but for Mirai, who is still young, have busty bodies and are all very lovely, Torrent explains to MSTR Cyclones. Having CC ninja girls being my bodyguards who are also in love with Izuku, MSTR Cyclones said, looking at blushing ninja girls at the mention of Izuku. I used the truth ray you made, and they had all planned on making Izuku reveal his secrets not by torture but by pleasure. They would have SEC with him and get him to talk. And they're all eager to agree to my terms once they learned about you going to be married to Izuku in the future, Torrent said. I see, and they're all naked to show off their bodies to me, MSTR Cyclones said, walking around the girls who blush as she looks them all over. They have been trained in the art of seduction and SEC that kunoichis need in the field. Which, seeing how you're going to have fellow wives, you should learn as well. There is more than fighting to show the ranking among your fellow wives. And you should expand your taste to women, seeing how you have all the opportunity to do so in the future, Torrent said. Yes, but how willing are these girls to serve me? MSTR Cyclones asked, looking over the girls. We will do whatever it takes, Hamura spoke up. She and the other girls wouldn't let Izuku get away from them again. And I'm willing to have you DM and abuse me, any way you want, Ryona said, living her dream of having a MSTR. Really now? MSTR Cyclones asked. She's a MSCST, dear. She wants to be abused by a MSTR. So be a dear and show your new servant who is her MSTR, Torrent said. Really now? MSTR Cyclones asked, standing in front of Ryona, her mind racing with ideas. Yes, why not you and your mother take turns on me? Ryona said, causing MSTR Cyclones to look sick at that thought. Now you ruined the mood, MSTR Cyclones said. A meeting was taking place with the top heroes of Japan having all been gathered. The government official Suki is making sure that everything is perfect so that Midoriya and the princesses stay in Japan. Having everyone working for the government or hero with a quirk that gives them future sight in some form to all work together to see the best possible future where that happens. Seeing how Midoriya has saved entire worlds when he was in that spacefaring world with that orange alien wander, from villains who, while they look silly, are a far greater threat than even All for One. Seeing how the villains there rank themselves by the number of planets that they have conquered. And saved the Nile galaxy from that warlord. Among the other heroic things he has done, he's getting a free pass to any hero school in Japan, as he has nothing to prove to anyone that he's a hero. It's the other way around with us proving to him that he should stay here and be a hero here, Suki said to the assembled pro-heroes. Suki is standing in front of a screen showing the picture of Midoriya. All of your agencies have already been told of the new rules. There are going to be quirkless heroes. Midoriya has done more than any of you, and that includes you All Might. The people who can see into the future have all seen bad times ahead for Japan if Midoriya leaves for another school in another country. The best outcome if that happens is a deep recession that lasts for years, losing status and face on the world stage, Suki said. The screen changed, showing an old man and a picture of Underfist in his prime. The Americans have sent the retired hero Underfist, a quirkless hero who used a robotic gauntlet to talk to Midoriya into going to Justice High where he teaches. Japan doesn't have any quirkless heroes, and just making Midoriya into the expectation to the rule is just making it clear we only value him because of the princesses who are romantically involved. That just results in Midoriya leaving and Japan losing face and trade deals. Hence why we're making the mandatory chances. Don't like it, you can always be replaced. Queen Torrent of the Cyclonia Empire has shown that she has the technology to drain people of their quirks. Eraserhead has been studied and his quirk is just gone, not that he could remain as a pro-hero after the scene he caused. Make a scene like that where you stand in the way or sabotage a quirkless hero because of your views, you will have your license and quirk taken. We're already in talks with her about draining the quirks of villains that are in prison. A few heroes who don't agree with how things are going to be from now on will help send a message, Suki said coldly. A man in costume walks onto the stage. Luckily we do have a quirkless hero who can be an example for the others who don't have quirks and want to be heroes. Iwao Oguro, Knuckleduster, a quirkless vigilante. He's now a pro-hero fully licensed and is now a teacher at UA to teach there. He was a clock before he lose his quirk but carried on being a hero. Once there are quirkless young heroes available, your agencies need to have an active quirkless hero. If not, the agency will be shut down. All quirkless heroes will have any and all support equipment available to them, Suki said. The screen changed to a picture of the Nile Embassy and Knuckleduster left the stage. The Nile Empire is over 40,000 years old and rules most of the Nile Galaxy. Is the most technologically advanced and stable, with a large military force that keeps the peace. We cannot afford to anger Pharaoh Yosira or her daughter Cleopatra. She has taken charge of diplomatic affairs, having dealt with less advanced worlds like ours. The embassy is a ship model made for this kind of situation, where an embassy can quickly be made, and is also where Midoriya and his mother are now living after their apartment was ransacked, Suki said. The next picture shows the Cyclonia Empire Embassy. A large building that was quickly built thanks to prefabricated construction that just needed to be put together, by giant robots. And is also guarded by said giant robots called Sentinels. The Cyclonia Empire is the most dangerous, as they are openly evil. They have taken over their world of Atmos, a world of thousands of mountain-top kingdoms, by dominating the economy. Thanks to them being able to travel to different dimensions, they've been able to gather resources and technology from dead worlds, allowing the Cyclonia Empire to completely dominate the economy, where the other kingdoms would fall apart without the resources from the empire. They have raised the standards of living for the people under their rule. The empire has stamped out all pirate and bandit activities as well as all organized crime. They use mind-reading machines to find them and don't have courts to handle them, they just send them off to force LBR camps. The sentinels guarding the embassy are designed to hunt down and kill people with powers and are designed to handle a wide array of powers. If they become hostile, they can easily dominate our world. MSTR Cyclones must never be given a reason to be hostile, Suki said. The next picture shows the Equestrian Embassy, which is a large castle made out of crystals, with several other crystal buildings nearby. The Equestrian Embassy was literally grown using magic crystals and made the other embassies for the others. Queen Celestia and her sister Luna both are able to move planets and stars with their powers. Princess Sunset has her mother's power as well, just less refined and less powerful thanks to her young age. There is no way anyone here be able to take on someone who can move a star just by thinking about it. She and the first two are the most powerful and all need to be handled carefully. The first two have armies, the third can fling armies into space. The others are all a mixed bag in what they're able to do and offer. But none of them are to be taken lightly, as they are in a polyamory relationship and angering one can bring the others to their aid. Seeing how many of them can use magic and have other abilities or robots in the case of the Kraken girl, they are all to be treated well, Suki said. The screen shuts off. We really need to roll out the red carpet for them and make their stay here a good one. The future of Japan depends on it. In case or an emergency, a call will be sent out and you are to drop whatever you're doing and get to where you are needed. We need to impress them and show them that Japan is where they should stay, Suki said. On a wall of the room is a literally bug, a spy bug in the shape of a fly watching the meeting and transmitting it back to base. Cyclonia Empire Embassy. Inside a computer room, MSTR Cyclones smiled as they rate her second to Cleopatra on the danger scale. With her openly being evil has caused many to be weary of her. Mother wasn't pleased with how she had missed her chance at just taking Izuku when she could, but with this new arrangement with her having fellow wives, has given them a new opportunity. Being the token evil teammate as it's called, being the one who will step up and do the evil that is needed. Impressive work, Dr. Mstr Cyclonia said to Dr. Olivia Octavius. The good doctor was floating between dimensions when she popped out of one of the portals to other worlds. She now works for the Cyclonia Empire with more resources than she ever had working for Fist. And Mstr Cyclonies is smart and can understand everything she says without her having to dumb things down. Thank you Mstr Cyclonies, Octavius said. Tron, what about you? Mstr Cyclonies asked the other person in the room with her. The robots are all ready, Tron Bond said. She's a brown-haired girl who used to be a pirate with her brothers, but after a portal opened where she and her family spotted it and one of Tron's servbots got inside before it closed, learned about other dimensions. With the robots that she created, Tron and her family were offered jobs in the Empire. Mega Man Legends. Good, you two can return to your other duties, Mstr Cyclonies said with the doctor leaving, but Tron stayed. Yes, what is it? I would like to enroll with you in the hero school. It'd be a chance for me to test out my mech against superpowers, Tron said. Sure, why not, it's always good to have some more help, Mstr Cyclonies said. Nile Embassy. Cleopatra watched the TV screen with a twitch in her eye as she watches the trailer of a video game. Lead Salad, the latest, hottest, all-girl band in a world where bands fight each other for fans. The scene shows the band members. Zoe, lead vocals. A short-haired blonde. Gina, lead guitar. A short dark-haired dark-skinned girl. Carrie, drums. A redhead in ponytails. Becky, bass guitar. A long brown-haired girl. Deborah, the manger. A short-haired blonde woman with an eye patch over her right eye. They found the prefect Rhodey. The scene shows Izuku fixing up their equipment for their next show. And helping out in fighting the other bands. But he left them. After the tour ended. The scene shows Izuku leaving by a portal. They not going to let something like traveling to other dimensions stop them. The scene shows them in their battle-ready RV driving into a portal. To find their Rhodey and make him theirs. Scene shows the four young girls all pressing themselves around Izuku. But they have a problem. The scene shows Izuku being taken away from the band. 13 problems. Screenshots of the 13 princesses all claiming Izuku as theirs. They must travel to 13 different worlds. Screenshots of the 13 different world. Fighting against the princesses' minions. Screenshots of the band members fighting soldiers, robots, and animals in a beat-them-up style. Mini-bosses. Screen showing the band members fighting the other girls who are also in love with Izuku. The scene ends with the band fighting on the USS Constitution, fighting against Captain Ironside. With Ruby showing up at the end and leaping into the sea. Before fighting the princesses themselves. Ruby burst out of the sea in the background in her giant kraken form and slamming her hands onto the deck of the ship trying to smash the band members. Followed by scene shots of the other princesses. All to get their Rhodey/boyfriend back. The scene ends with the band members posing for the camera in front of the title screen. Battle of the Bands, Dimensional Tour. Oh, let's get it, a young blonde said. It looks fun, a dark-haired girl said. Enough you two, Cleopatra said to her two handmaids and friends. While on an emergency stop on a world covered in mostly cities, she and Izuku found two living people both on a tall skyscraper. Cheeto, a young girl with short black hair, and Yuri, a young blonde-haired girl. And she made them her maids as they had nowhere else to go. Girls' last tour. Who made this game? Cleopatra asked. It's by that imp and that mix-up thing, Cheeto said as the trailer showed both Discord and MXYZPTLK on screen as the creators. Figures, Cleopatra said. I'll be more worried about those girls showing up and beating you up, Yuri said. Cleopatra quickly left the room. Izuku's room. I did work as a roadie for the band for one night and they're all in their 20s, Izuku said to the girls who have packed themselves into the room. Good, because fighting other girls for, Ruby said and trailed off as she thinks about it. Fighting off other girls who want you all to themselves would be something we would do, Sunset said as she doesn't have a problem sharing Izuku. But really, why would they make a game like that? Usagi asked. It's just something they do, Sunset said. It's tamer than what usually happens, Diana said. Well, at least if that band does show up and they are adults who are after Izuku, we can hurt them as much as we want, Bloom said. Because the only one who gets to sexually violate you is us, Harley said, causing all the girls to glare at her. Harley, they all shouted at her. What, as if none of you want to chain him to the bed and make sure he knows that we love him, in the most blunt way with no way he can't get it that we want him, Harley said. No, that's something out of an adult SEC fiction, Haruka said. Well, you wanted to do that to him, Harley pointed out, causing Haruka to blush. Izuku knows we love him, and if not we can do what my mom did to my dad. Punching him till he gets it, Kelly said, causing all the girls to look at Izuku, who sweated. Gran Torino, it's been years, the old man in an old-fashioned suit said to the old retired hero. It has, under fist, Gran Torino greeted his fellow hero of his generation. Both heroes are in the front lobby of the Nile embassy, waiting to be called to speak to Midoriya, giving him their sales pitch to come to their school. For days now, heroes who have retired and been teaching have been sent to Japan, all of them having been well-known heroes in their primes. All trying to get the young man to come to their school, to their country. Made harder as the 13 princesses are with him to question the person sent to give the sales pitch. With both Sunset using her empathetically and Diana using her lasso of truth, the girls got the truth out of the person sent. Surprised that they sent you instead of your old student, Underfist said. This kind of thing isn't suited to him, Gran Torino said. All Might wouldn't be able to handle giving a sales pitch, Underfist said. That's for sure, Gran Torino said, as the real reason why he was sent, so that his old student's secret wouldn't be revealed and that the talks can last longer than his time limit would allow him. Heard that Knuckleduster, a quirkless vigilante, has been made a pro-hero. Japan doesn't have a history of quirkless pro-heroes, unlike my country. We always had quirkless heroes who are gadget users, or my old gauntlet. Must be tough making sure that Midoriya isn't just the exception to how things are done around here. Would you even know how to train someone without a quirk? Underfist asked. I just have to put effort into it, Gran Torino said, knowing what Underfist is up to. When he was an active hero he would talk and talk to get under the villain's skin to throw them off. If I remember right, you went and scarred All Might with your training. The girls with Midoriya won't be happy about that, Underfist said. I can handle them, Gran Torino said. Please, you know how to talk to girls. Next you be telling Midoriya how to handle the girls in love with him, Underfist said. I have, you know, I could write a book on love, Gran Torino said. All quiet on the Western Front, Underfist said. Hey! Gran Torino growled. There's a reason why you're alone, even with you retired, that you have been talking to someone your age. But of course you're a small troll now, Underfist smirks at his much smaller fellow old hero while he's still tall. You want to take this outside? Gran Torino growled. Like last time where I stuff you in a trash can? Well, at least you won't need to be freed unlike last time, Underfist said. You two are the same, an elderly English woman said, entering the lobby. She is dressed in the clothes of a famous English nanny. Ms. Poppins, the two old men said. It's Samantha now, I passed the title to my successor, Samantha said, who was the last holding of the title of Ms. Poppins. Modeled after the famous nanny of the book series and films, the first Ms. Poppins had the quirk to make herself an object's weightless. By using an umbrella she was able to glide through the air and drop heavy objects from great heights or swing around big objects, and by shifting her quirk from normal to weightless could hit a villain with a truck. Who passed the title down to a younger heroine once age started to get to her and been a tradition since. Come to try as well? Underfist asked. Just like you too. And Underfist is right, Gran Torino, you have never trained a quirkless student. Underfist and I have, and have you forgotten that Julie, who I took the Poppins title from, was quirkless? But then again you would try to forget being humiliated like she did with you, Samantha said. That's right, you tried to zoom past her and she reached out and grabbed you, pulling off your pants and underwear, Underfist said. Causing Gran Torino to growl at that past humiliation. In a bar. Tamura Shigaraki played the new game that appeared in stores, Battle of the Bands, Dimensional Tour. Yes, it's a game and yes, the characters might not be accurate to the real ones. But it does give us an idea of what we're dealing with, Tamura said, playing a video of the gameplay of the game. It's just a game, but it does give us an idea what we're dealing with. As long as they're here in Japan, those princesses will just get in our way, All for One said to Tamura. If we follow the plan with the UA and those princesses are there, their parents will demand action, Tamura said. The evil empire would be the one to take action, sending the army of those sentinels to attack. Fighting those giant robots who are designed to kill those with powers, will just end with us dead, All for One said. What do we do? Tamura asked. Make sure that those princesses won't want to stay here, All for One said. Make the school unsuitable for the princesses? Tamura asked. Yes, that would do it. But something that can't be linked back to us, All for One said. Lark, are you there? Izuku asked as he's let into Mstr Cyclonia's private room in the Cyclonia Empire Embassy, which is protected by female guards and robots. Izuku's so nice for you to come over, Lark's voice called out. Lark, we need to talk about the kunoichis from the ninja school world, Izuku said, looking around for Lark. In the bathroom, come in, Lark said. Bathroom? Izuku asked. Don't be shy, you seen me naked before and wash me, Lark teased. I'm in the hot tub and you can join me. I seen you naked too. I know, Izuku said, blushing, remembering his time as Lark's personal servant and before that when he was just a prisoner. Lark disguised herself as another prisoner and spent time with him in the cell he was placed in. Where the week they spent in there, Izuku told her about himself after Lark said she overheard that he somehow showed up in Mstr Cyclonia's personal chambers, which he told her about how he's been traveling to different worlds thanks to a portal gun. Only to accidentally ended up in a bathroom with Mstr Cyclonies using it at the time. But seeing how he entered by a portal, the girl was more interested in the portal gun than him invading her private time. But still had him strp and toss into the cell. She in turn told him about her and how the new world he found himself in worked. He told her about the worlds he's been to and his home world. That all ended when Queen Torrent entered the cell and told Lark that the game she's playing is over. And Lark revealed herself to be the princess of Cyclonia, Mstr Cyclonies. Izuku did ask why isn't her mother have the title of Mstr. Which Queen Torrent explained that Lark was given the title by her later grandmother who held the title of Mstr Anarchus, who also gave the title of Mstr Buzzer, to her son. But as she married into the royal family she didn't have a title of Mstr, just Queen. Queen Torrent also explains that while it was an accident he still ended up in her daughter's bathroom while she was using it. She would just have him executed but she will leave his fate to Lark. Which Lark made him her personal servant and he will explain how his machines work and maybe she will be able to figure out how to make her own portal gun. Izuku accepted as he didn't have any other choice and Lark was his best hope to return home, seeing how there's only enough green portal fluid left for at least one more jump. Flashback. Izuku spent weeks serving Lark and teaching her how the technologies and the magic items he had with him work. The Eye of Dashi, having unlimited power, and the Orb of Tornami, were the ones that got her interest. Lark had already explained to him that her empire is expanding and taking over other terraces because of the lack of resources, as being mountaintop kingdoms the terrace have few resources available to them, not to mention limited space. The wastelands do have resources but because of the dangers, there are very few outposts found at ground level. With unlimited power and fresh drinking water, her empire won't have to worry about lacking vital resources. Which is why Lark took all of the treasures and resources that Izuku had stored in his SAC that he kept for emergencies. The surface of the world of Atmos is largely made up of extremely dangerous and uninhabitable grounds known as the wastelands. Civilization is largely set on terrace, mountainous landmasses that reach above the cloud layer over the wastelands. The different terrace range in size from large enough for a big city to small enough for a farm or two. Resources are always low, and if Cyclonia wasn't around, the other terrace would be fighting among themselves for said resources. The plants that he also brought alone are also giving her people a better diet. The lantern trees, marble melon plants, Chinese potato plants, bobo trees, ancient fruits, and other unknown food crops are being grown on the farms. Izuku also spent that time being a friend to Lark, as he thought that was all she really needed, and to help her see there are better ways than just conquering. In Lark's laboratory, where she experiments with the technology and stuff that Izuku had in his SAC. The AI Secundo has helped in Lark learning about the technologies, but he's only doing it because he's worried about Izuku being held by her. Now that Izuku is freed, Secundo is being more helpful. Her new laboratory is powered by electricity instead of power crystals, as it was just easier for her to make a new laboratory that is powered by electricity than converting the new machines to run on crystal power. The laboratory was created by using a builder to make 4 large rooms, a scanner room, and a moon pool. A bioreactor and solar panels powers the laboratory. Her old laboratory is still in use when she does experiments on crystals. It took her a while to figure out how to use electricity and crystal power together. But thanks to the scanner with all the data saved into it and what Dr. Mobius had already done studying the technologies that Izuku had scanned already, Lark used what was already researched and expanded from there, making it work with the technology of her world, melding them together. She also had scanners given out to her soldiers and told to scan things to find the materials needed to create weapons and equipment. Soon fabricators and modification stations began showing up in bases, just needed raw materials and power to work. Snow Fox hover pads, now modified to create switchblades and skimmers. Neptune escape rocket, allowing Lark to send up probes and satellites up into space. Sierra Madre vending machines, being able to make just about anything with materials and power. Saturnite, a ceramic-like polymer alloy, allowing the creations of the sharpest of blades. Robot workbenches, allowing her to build a robotic army that can work as soldiers or serve other duties. Robot miners and robot soldiers were soon setting up depots in the wastelands to gather the resources there. Thanks to the fact the robots aren't made out of flesh, the animals of the wastelands had little reason to attack the bases and depots. And protected by an array of turrets, firing bullets, lasers and missiles, driving off the dangerous beasts. Also replacing the prisoners who are in the Force LBR camp, where the robots don't need to eat or sleep. Resulting in former prisoners being ransomed for their freedom, to just being exchanged for Cyclonia prisoners. The fusion generator, a fusion-powered electric generator that uses a fusion core to produce electricity, are being made in bases and settlements, to help power the new factories. Armor forges, producing armor. Energy weapon, and heavy weapon forges producing weapons that Atmos has never seen before. Ammunition and explosive forges producing the ammunition for the new weapons. Building up the military equipment, with all military actions being halted as the soldiers are being retrained to use the new equipment. But while there was a phase in military actions, using the idea that Izuku gave them, Lark's parents are also trying an economy victory, instead of a military victory. After Lark discovered video games in the data that Izuku had scanned, with one of the games being a nation-building game where victory could come in different ways instead of just conquering. With Izuku pointing out that a nation that provides so much goods to other nations could simply stop and force the other nations to submit. Builders, producing consumer goods. Autoloom, producing clothes. And the food processors, mass-producing food goods, all being shipped out using merchants that did business with Cyclonia. Soon the mass-produced products began showing up in other terrace, all at cheaper prices. Also new medicines like antibiotics and stimpaks also began showing up in the markets and undercutting other businesses. Condor. With the Cyclonias having gone quiet and are just hunkering down in the terrace that they control, there hasn't been that many missions that the Stormhawks have been doing. Giving them lots of downtime, as all Cyclonia actives have died down. The spies in Cyclonia territories have been reporting that the Cyclonias suddenly have several breakthroughs in technologies and seem to be just busy incorporating the new machines into their society. I can't believe this, Piper said as she's reading the latest news about how Cyclonia is cornering the market with a flood of goods. Cyclonia is flooding the market with all of those goods they're suddenly making. Piper put down the paper and saw her fellow Storm Hawks at the dinner table, feasting on said food goods from Cyclonia. Arrow is eating cram that he has cut into slices and fried, drinking Nuka-Cola. Finn is eating Salisbury steak and drinking Vim. Junko is stuffing himself with boxes of sugar bombs. Stork is eating a bowl of Blamco brand mac and cheese. And Radar is eating potato crisps. They are cheap, Arrow said. And we are lacking funds, Stork said. Besides, these bombs are great, Junko said. So are the drinks, Finn adds. Isn't anyone wondering how the Cyclonias suddenly have so much new stuff all of a sudden? They have robots now and new auto guns, Piper asked. Yeah, but it's not like we can just go in there and find out how they're doing it, Arrow said. I have something, Finn said, showing 6 tickets. Got tickets for Ultimate Extreme Mighty Mega Warrior Championships that are being hosted in Cyclonia. We can watch the show and you can sneak around to look for clues. Later, the Storm Hawks find out that the tickets were fakes while presenting them to the guard. To get in to watch the show, Finn disguises Junko as one of the colorful competitors, but things quickly get out of hand when Finn abuses a hypnosis crystal on Junko to make him fight, sending Junko into a berserker rage. Meanwhile, Piper sneaks around looking for clues while the royal family are watching the games. Arrow, there's robots everywhere, do not call me, Piper said over the radio as she has been sneaking around trying not to be spotted by the guards and robots. She has dressed up as a staff member, but she doesn't want to chance the robots spotting her. Piper stoked as she spots a green-haired teen boy around her age, pushing a cart with fancy-looking food on it out of the kitchen. Drumsticks that have been fried, bowls of soap, loaves of bread, a jar of jam and bottles of wine and sodas. Piper narrowed her eyes as she saw that the jam is the expensive ancient fruit jam and the wine as well, all very expensive and hard to get. Meaning the ones being served that cart are either high up or the royal family. Piper followed the teen who wheeled the cart to the royal skybox, and while all eyes were on him she sneaked into the nearby office with the door left open. Finding it to be Queen Torrent's office, she went to work looking over the papers and finding documents of status projects that MSTR Cyclones is doing in her new laboratory, and the new power source of something called electricity is going to be powering the Terra soon, once she has the new power grid installed that can use both crystal and electricity. She found blueprints of machines that she had no idea how they would work, like an autodock, microwave, helicopters, floating fortresses, televisions, and computers. And the reports also mentioned someone named Izuku, helping MSTR Cyclones out in her experiments. The door opened and Piper quickly hides as MSTR Cyclones and the green-haired teen entered the office. You're just lucky that there's a shower in here, MSTR Cyclones said. Sorry Lark, the boy said. Izuku, you had to only serve me a glass of soda and instead you sprayed me with it, MSTR Cyclones said. Sorry Lark, Izuku said. Close the door, don't want anyone coming in, use the new lock I installed, MSTR Cyclones said. Why does the lock have to be unlocked from the inside? Izuku asked, closing the door and it locking behind him. So that if anyone sneaks in can be locked inside. Now undress me, MSTR Cyclones said, entering the bathroom. Yes Lark, Izuku said, joining her in the bathroom. Piper, having gone into hiding in the laundry basket, took in all the information she overheard. Izuku is the boy with MSTR Cyclones, who is allowed to call her Lark, a name that she used when she pretended to be someone else. Which could mean that Lark is her name, and Izuku is close enough to her where he can use her real name. And that he's also close enough where he can join MSTR Cyclones in the bathroom and join her in the shower, after he undresses her. Oh no, Piper thought as she couldn't help but watch Izuku undress Lark and he undresses himself, revealing their naked bodies to her. Piper's face turned red as she watches at the sight of seeing her first naked boy, how slender and wiry Mr. Cyclones is, and felt dread as Izuku picked up the clothes and headed for the laundry basket that she's hiding in. Present. Izuku walks into the bathroom expecting Lark to be alone in the hot tub but froze as he sees that she's not alone in the hot tub. In the tub with Lark are the female ninjas who appeared in that video game, Hamura, Yomi, Hikage, Mirai, Haruka, Miyabi, Murasaki, Imu, Ryobi, and Ryona. And all of them being naked, giving Izuku an eyeful of the busty bodies of most of the girls, with the slender bodies of Lark and Mirai being the less endowed. Mother was the one who hired them, to help me train for when we're married, Lark said. Trained? Izuku asked. By having SEC with us and learning how to pleasure another girl. So that when she has fellow wives, she can show them the pecking order of who's the top wife, Haruka said, causing Izuku to blush. I'm going to make sure that the others know the ranking, Lark said. Hi Izuku, Piper said, coming out from the room that held the toilet, naked but for what looks like braces on her limbs and a chest HRNSS with a green crystal that Izuku recognized as one that can restores anything like a sick person. Piper. Izuku said, shocked at seeing how pale and haggard she looks. Piper acquired the ability to infuse others with crystal powers like me. But unlike me, she's not attuned to it, and as you can see has taken a toll on her body. She's now serving me as a personal servant like you use. 2. In exchange for treatment and exchange for the freedom of the other Storm Hawks, Lark said. How did that happen? Izuku asked. After you left, Cyclonia dominated the economy of Atmos, forcing the other terrorists to submit to their rule. The Sky Knights tried to resist and we failed. I tried to empower the others by binding and it almost killed me. When I woke up, MSTR offered me a chance to free the others, if I would submit and serve her. She also told me that she's been working on her own portal machine to find you, and I took the deal and saw the others off. Telling them that it's over and we lost. I was barely clinging to life at that point, even with the advanced medical aid you brought with you, Piper said. I told the Storm Hawks that if they rebel again, would just simply cut off the medical aid to Piper. They've been quite since, and Piper helped me in the portal machine, Lark said. How is Piper? Izuku asked. Better, she doesn't need an air tank or a wheelchair. When she's out she wears that modified trauma HRNSS armor she wore in that video game, which is really her life support, Lark said. MSTR has been taking care of me. But I don't matter, you matter more. With you by MSTR's side, you can help Atmos stay good. MSTR's parents rule with an iron fist, but since they have taken over, our world has gotten better. We don't lack the resources we need anymore. I talk with the other and our friends and they agree that things are better, Piper said. She knows that fighting wouldn't work now, but if Izuku were to marry MSTR, he can lessen the harsh rule. You need medical aid, Izuku said, seeing how weak and sick Piper is compared when he last saw her. I already asked for help from the others, which is why Piper is here. The advanced medical science of Cleopatra's world should be able to help her, Lark said. Is there anything else? Izuku said, remembering Chloe. There is to be perfectly attuned, but it does require someone to bond with. Like me and you, Lark said. What? Izuku asked. Remember how I looked before and after you began serving me? Father told me that you just being around me has caused my attunement to advance faster than his own attunement, which took him years. Somehow your very presence around me allowed my body to adjust faster. Piper on the other hand just tried to brute force it and the energy all but destroyed her body, seeing how she tried to face me with no training and trying at full power, then doing it little by little, like me. Both father and my grandmother had slowly strengthened my body as I was growing up, exposing me to the crystal energies little by little. Piper on the other hand just drove head first into it, and as bad as she looks now, she was much worse, Lark explains. So if I stayed around Piper long enough she will get better? Izuku asked. That's my best guess, Lark said. And since you're here, you can stay over for tonight. Stay over? Izuku asked, not liking the looks the girls are giving him. Izuku, will you stay? Piper asked, pressing her naked body against his and looking hopeful at him. Later. Izuku found himself pinned between Lark and Piper, who are pressing themselves on his sides as they slept in Locker's bed. The other girls are sleeping in the other beds in the bedroom with two of them, Yomi and Imu. Both of them are sleeping on the sides of Lark and Piper on the large bed. He is glad that all of them are in their night clothes and not naked, which Lark told him that she isn't that eager to have children yet, as they still have some years to come of age. He also told his mother that he'd be spending the night with Lark and explain things to her. Looks like it's already working. I haven't seen Piper sleeping so peacefully, Lark said, looking at the sleeping face of Piper. In the game, you and Piper are a dual boss, and if Piper is taken out before you, who go berserk. You must really care for her, Izuku said. I guess a bit, Lark said, being honest. What happened to the other Stormhawks? Izuku asked. I put their skills to good use. They're now working in the transportation department, Lark said. Condor. Arrow sighed as he missed the days of being a Stormhawk, instead of working for the Cyclonias as freight haulers. Finn and Junko are loading the last of the pallets in the cargo bay. Stork and Radar are at the bridge, getting the ship ready to set sail, to deliver the food supplies to the depot. They all wanted to fight, but with Piper being in the hands of MSTR Cyclonies they couldn't. Piper was nearly dead, and the life support system that MSTR Cyclonies has her in is the only thing that's keeping her alive. Then there's the fact that under the rule of Cyclonia, things have gotten better for many. Schools, hospitals and transportation hubs have been built, improving the lives of people. Bringing in resources from different colonies from different worlds where there are vast lands, water and nothing like the wastelands, from the videos and pictures they have seen. The other Sky Knights also seen how much better things are under Cyclonia rule and just stop fighting. The benefits of Cyclonia rule is just too good to return to the old ways. They live under an iron fist, but it works, and many people now have a better standard of life. Piper keeps in contact with them and told them that MSTR Cyclonies has found Izuku. According to Piper, he's the reason why the Cyclonias went for a less violent conquest. And that she would be going to Izuku's world where she can see him again. She would also going to be treated to the medical technology of other worlds. Doing what she can to make MSTR Cyclonies less of a tyrant compared to her parents, who also are all for that, as it would make a more stable long-term rule for their family. I hope you get well, Piper, Arrow said to himself as he heads off to the bridge. In his room in the Nile Embassy, Izuku is hanging out with Ruby and her little brother Sam. Both older teens are watching as Sam is playing the beat-them-up video game Battle of the Bands, Dimensional Tour. Sam has made it to the last stage where he's fighting in through the academy level right before the chase battle with Cheeto and Yuri begins. This is so weird having a video game where, I'm a boss, Ruby said. You do make a powerful boss in your level. The game doesn't have an easy mode and just has normal, hard, very hard, and I want to suffer levels, Izuku said. The game is popular back in our world, Sam said. My friends like how they're background characters in the game, Ruby said. The first level is more like a final level in a game than the first level in most games, Sam said. Well, Ironside and the others are strong, while in the world before yours. We help Ange and the others in their battle against Mbayo's forces, Izuku said. Where that giant robot came from? Ruby asked. The Ragnamail, EM, CBX-001 Hysterica. The weapons of the Constitution were either damaged, destroyed, or just spent. Ramming into a portal was the only thing I could think of, Izuku said. That world had people who can use magic, racist against those who can't. Ruby asked. And the dragon guys can't transform into humans like the females? Sam asked. Yes, we ended up sailing to the prison colony where the Normas are sent to fight the dragons, because they can disable magic. Like in Marvel, where no matter what the humans hate mutants. The last I saw the world of Mana was in chaos after they lost magic. Everything ran on magic but for the equipment that the Normas used, Izuku said. Mobius is working on a giant robot of his own, Ruby said. Liberty Prime, the Brotherhood of Steel, found it underneath the Pentagon of that Earth. It was made to tank anything that the pre-war military could throw at it, lasers, plasma, battleship gunfire, nukes. It took an orbital bombardment from a missile satellite by the Enclave just to take it out. It was rebuilt, but the Institute hacked it and had it destroy the Brotherhood's airship the Pridwen, which fell on top of it. I managed to scan it before the Institute's synths could dig it out, Izuku said. Mom built some underwater homes for the other Krakens. And there are sea bases being built on the ocean floor, for deep-sea drivers and people who want to salvage the ocean floor, using those driving suits and prawns. The prawns are also being used in mining and construction, Ruby said. I built many underwater bases in many worlds, mostly in worlds where it was just safer to hide underwater, Izuku said. Left them operational? Ruby asked. Some or them, others I broke down for resources, Izuku said. The scanners are now like iPhones. After the doctor added that feature, Sam spoke up. Really? Izuku asked. Yeah, the scanner phone scan features are used to scan barcodes and identify injuries and sickness. Adding things to the database and such, Ruby said. Mom and Dad use theirs to see if the food is spoiled or not, Sam adds. Or check the car. The scanner can tell you just about everything about something, Ruby also adds. Sam made it to the final level of the palace where he's fighting a boss rush of the girl bosses who are after Izuku as their husband. All random so that the player can't ever get used to the combination of the bosses. And since the bosses can affect each other by their powers or abilities, it's either a good or a bad thing. The bosses can either help or harm each other. Izuku asked watch Sam play. Which is why the final level is so hard. Cleopatra's level already has the most enemies and is much longer than everyone else's. The boss rush is either normal or hard depending on the bosses who show up, which are up to 4 at a time. Like if Entrapta with her BattleBot has anyone who has lightning powers, they can supercharge the BattleBot's laser, or anyone who has tech-based powers as well. Supergirl when she's paired with someone who light powers is supercharged by them and heals her too. And at the end where Ruby burst out of the floor, depending on who's left, if they have water powers, the flood the floor and Ruby gets a power bonus because of being underwater, Sam explains. Wouldn't that just flood the whole palace? Izuku asked. It's just a game, Ruby said. If someone has lightning powers is fighting with Ruby, she can get zapped for damage, or frozen for ice, Sam adds. And while Azula can bend fire and lightning, she isn't immune to them, can get damaged by a fellow fire and lightning user. All the bosses can either harm or help each other, Ruby said. On the screen Lemon Zest has ripped off one of the support pillars and is swinging it around and hitting the other bosses fighting with her. Sam is using Lemon Zest to take out the other bosses before taking her out. That's something Lemon Zest would do, Izuku said, as Lemon Zest has a one-track mind, and while that does make her hard to fool or outsmart, as she simply uses brute force. There's a reason why she's the weakest of Sunset's bodyguards and is usually paired up with someone else. Not that she's dumb, as she does come up with simple yet effective ideas, and sometimes the simplest ideas are the best. Like this combo, makes it all but impossible to win alone, Sam said, fighting against 4 bosses at once. Makoto is tossing lightning around the room, with Sour Sweet, a Pegasus who is immune to lightning, creating storm clouds that discharge lightning bolts down all around the room and rain to make the floor wet, and each time lightning hits the floor. Sam's character Becky takes damage, while the 2 bosses are immune to their own attacks. Tickle Pink, who is healing the others, is making just beating Makoto and Sour Sweet hard. Green Lantern, who using her force field to protect herself, and Tickle Pink is hovering in the air with the healer keeping themselves out of harm's way. That is a bad combo, Izuku said, seeing how the only way to fight that is to defeat Tickle Pink first, but the force field of Green Lantern has to be broken first and the other 2 aren't letting up on their attacks. Which ended with Sam's being defeated. I'm just allowing other players to join in, Sam said, having to restart the level. Working together and combining the right power sets would really work out, Izuku said as he thought of some ideas. And would avoid accidents, Ruby said, not liking the animation of her being shocked by lightning or being frozen in the game. DC Superhero Girls World. In their HQ/basement the girls are playing the video game. Bumblebee, Batgirl, Zatanna, and Harley Quinn are playing, while the others are watching. They're in the final level in the boss rush level. I didn't know your armor could be supercharged with lightning, Green Lantern said. My armor isn't, but I can make some upgrades, Bumblebee said. This game does give plenty of ideas of how we can expand our teamwork, Wonder Woman said. Yeah, the girls with light powers can supercharge me, Supergirl said. So are we getting any royalties from this game? Harley Quinn asks. The game is being sold by a subsidiary company of the Wayne's company. So we get money from him, which were listed as voice actors, Batgirl said. Good, about time we get paid, Supergirl said. Star versus the forces of evil world. We totally should try that, Star said as her video game self casted a spell on video game Kelly and Higgs, causing the two to gain roller skates on their feet and linked arms and spun around so fast with one arm extended holding their swords out, making themselves into a buzzsaw as they spun around the room in the video game. But that would just have me throw up, Higgs said. Yeah, look, Kelly said as their video game counterpart stopped spinning and looked sick from all that spinning. And leaves you two open for a beatdown, Ponyhead said watching her sisters who are playing the game beat down on the two bosses. The blue-colored ancient fruit and other fruits that Izuku gotten from the seaside pelican town, which is more of a village as there were less than 50 people living there. Didn't even have a school, there is a supermarket, JoJoMart and a movie theater, which draws people to the village, mostly people who stops at the town for a rest stop or to buy something. There is also a train station, but from the looks of things few people stop at the village. Ancient fruit is odd as you can't eat it as it is, it could only be eaten when prepared first. Star fruit, an extremely juicy fruit that grows in hot, humid weather. Slightly sweet with a sour undertone. Powder melon, named for the powdery coating that forms on the surface, this melon is crisp and sweet, with a delicate flavor. Once given to the color kids, they traveled to their Earth to Big Apple City where their friend Strawberry and the others at the Berry Works went to work in making dishes out of them, which Izuku was only familiar with just jams and wines. Which Rainbow Bright, Canary Yellow, Indigo Doll, Shy Violet, Tickled Pink, and Stormy are sharing with him, dishes of pies, cakes, ice creams, fruit juices, and soups all made from those fruits. That world also have dinosaurs? Canary Yellow asked from his seat at the diner table in Izuku's and his mom's room in the embassy. A farmer found a pair of dinosaur eggs in a mine and hatched them. They're a dog-size four-legged dinosaurs that are green and have orange spikes. The farmer has been breeding them and selling them. I did had 2 eggs, but after they hatched, I left them with Claudine Wolf in that world with monsters living alongside with humans, Izuku said. So you can store things like eggs in the SAC? Indigo Doll asked. Yes, but anything else just ends up dead, Izuku said having tested it on bugs and they always ended up dead. Same thing happens when I tried, with anything that isn't an egg or plants or mushrooms, Shy Violet said. Having done lots of research on the technology Izuku had brought with him when he first showed up in their world. You did picked up many things on your journey, Tickle Pink said. I lost many things or they were destroyed in my journey home, Izuku said. Lark said that she gave you back some of the stuff she took from you when she held you prisoner, Rainbow Bright said. She's kept lots of things like the silver manta ray as her personal transport, Eye of Dashi to provide free power to her planet, and the Orb of Tornami providing clean drinking water, Izuku said. I was wondering about something, why didn't you use the Rio Reverso to restore the SAC back to before Hordak damaged it? Stormy asked. I do have it but it's broken, Izuku said, showing them the Rio Reverso, with the gem missing and what's left cracked. Kept it hoping to fix it one day but he magic from the world I got it from is just too different. What magic items do you have left that works? Indigo Doll asked. Wings of Tanabe, gives me rainbow wings that lets me fly and trails a rainbow behind me. Wushu Helmet, protects my head from any projectile. Ninja Sash, lets me make a double of me. Gills of Hamachi, gives me gills and fish-like features. Mantis flip coin, lets me jump high. Balance ring, it protects me from confusion. Goran's bracelet, that increases the user's strength. Fire rod, that cast fire spells. Ice rod, that cast ice spells. Found the last 3 in some old ruins when I was out collecting things for the ritual for Zelda, Izuku said. What about those power stones from the Kid Cosmic World? Stormy asked. All lost their powers once Erodius pass on. That world was something else. I was just planning on staying in the sleepy truckstop diner town in the middle of the desert for a couple of days when Kid found those stones and I was pulled into a spacefaring adventure, Izuku said, having spent 2 months more or less in that world. And he left as they began to rebuild the diner. Any other interesting worlds you visited that wasn't in the movie, and nothing like that as Hamster World? Canary Yellow asked. I found myself in a world that had tons of advanced technology around, and corporations wage war using drones and people watch it like a sport. I only stayed there for 3 days before leaving, Izuku said. World before Horizon Zero Dawn. Really? Indigo Doll asked. Since no one dies, it's allowed, Izuku said. Izuku, there's something you need to see, Secundo said, appearing and turning on the TV. On the screen is UA with all the buildings flooded with sewage from the toilets. Everything that has a water pipe has raw sewage bursting out of it. Even the training areas of the school are flooded with sewage, making the entire school a toxic mess. Izuku, I love you, but there's no way I'm going to a school that is flooded with raw sewage. We're going to another school, Rainbow Bright said. Well, the school would have to be condemned, and with it flooded with raw sewage, it would just be easier to just tear it all down and rebuild, which would take months or years, Izuku said. Elsewhere. Tamura Shigaraki watches the footage of the ruined school is being played on all the news channels. A simple solution to how to get the princesses to leave Japan, without having it linked back to them. The decontamination of the entire school would take months, not to mention having to repair everything in the school from the electrical wiring and replacing everything in it. Not to mention the smell, would last for a very long time. We will have to make a new plan, but this should drive the princesses away from Japan, Tamura said. Coming up with a new plan is much easier than it would be to handle the princesses. Midoriya is another issue, as he has faced off against villains far greater than me. The villains from that universe with the orange alien wander, while silly use a scoreboard of planets that they have taken over to show their ranking, All for One said. It's hard to compete to villains who are powerful enough to take over entire planets by themselves, Tamura agreed. And there's the fact that the most powerful of the princesses is one of a galaxy-spanning empire. She could just call down a strike force with advanced weapons on us, not to mention the Cyclonia Empire, who can take our quirks from us, All for One said, being realistic in their chances. It's a real eye-opener in seeing how far they would have to go to be seen as a real threat compared to many of the villains of those other worlds. We just have to step up our game then, Tamura said. Yes, we will, All for One said, very interested in the advanced medical technology and magical healing from the magic worlds. Stepping out of a portal, Sunset and her bodyguards came out of it in the Equestrian Embassy in United Kingdom. They're joined by Usagi, and the other princesses to see the school. They're there to tour the top superhero school of England, League of Extraordinary Adventurers. Since the sewage flooding of the UA school, which is under investigation of who sabotaged the school, which has a long list. Other countries, rival schools, and so on, all with a motivation of sabotaging the chances of Japan keeping Izuku in Japan. The other Japan schools would have stepped up, but all of the top hero schools of Japan were all hit by sewage flooding. The only ones left are the all-boys and girls schools, or ones that aren't suited for Izuku and the girls to attend due to school rules. So all the princesses split up in teams of 2 to visit the schools they picked. Going with their groups to see the schools of other countries that made the list. Rainbow Bright and Star groups are touring France School, Shining Star Academy. Iris and Wonder Woman groups are touring United States, Justice High. Azula and MSTR Cyclonies groups are touring Germany, Iron Cross Academy. Cleopatra and Zelda groups are touring Egypt, Nile High. Adora and Bloom group are touring South Korea, Zenith Academy. And Ruby the odd girl out is with Izuku along with Piper in the Equestrian Embassy. Where Princess Luna the sister of Celestia and aunt to Sunset is currently at, where she's visiting Izuku and getting to know the others in Sunset's herd. Princess Luna is a titan of a woman with a muscular build and curvaceous body, also standing over 9 feet tall and her skin dark blue. Her long dark blue hair flowed well past her shapely peach, and like her sister her face is both appealing and cold. Her massive cleavage is exposed by a circular window in her black dress, and the hems of her skirt went far up her thighs, revealing the sides of her powerful legs. She has massive black bird-like wings on her back and a silver horn on her forehead. She's not as voluptuous as her sister but has a muscular Amazon built, making her just as intimidating as her sister, just not by her SEC appeal, as she has that and the muscles to show she's not soft like her sister. She's spending time with Izuku, his mother, and Ruby and her family. Elsewhere, the government official Suki was close to pulling out her hair. All the planning and preparations that she has done was all for nothing. Thanks to sabotage by an unknown party, almost all the top hero schools in Japan have been flooded with sewage and made completely unsuitable for a place of learning. She's now having everyone looking into who did the deed. Now all she can do is damage control and save some face from this PR disaster. The plans for quirkless heroes are still in place and have already become law. The cleanup and rebuilding is already underway, so that hopefully in a year they could lure Izuku and his girls back to Japan. The princesses had already made it known that they wouldn't go to any school that smells like sewage, which is why they're touring other schools. But that does give them a year to prepare for the next school year. With the public shaming of Eraserhead and how he was allowed to do as he pleased with his students, Suki had people looking deep into the records. The corruption of the HPSC ran deep and the investigation revealed lots of skeletons in the closet, which she's fixing as she doesn't want those skeletons coming out. With a princess from a galaxy-spanning empire with who knows how advanced computers they have, or the card-carrying evil empire, either of them could easily find the skeletons and release them either as a power play by the first or just for evil's sakes by the later. The whole hero system needs to be remade and be cleaned up from top to bottom. The people with future sight quirks all agreed that cleaning house would improve the chances of luring Izuku and the princesses back. But first we need to find who sabotaged us, Suki said looking over the reports that are coming in. They're looking into everything from quirks to someone reversing the water flow. And the list of people and groups that would have the best motives, is just about every other nation with a hero system. Other hero schools thank to the fact so many people from those schools sent people to Japan to give a sales pitch to Izuku and the princesses. Even corporations who would gain more of trade from other worlds going to another nation that they have business in. Oceanside, California. In her room Haley Alohilani Banks, is besides herself as she looks at one of her lists of things to do in her notebook. She was a risk-averse teenage girl who finally began her to-do list, which she has managed to do several. Thanks to her friend Scott Denoga and his girlfriend Christine Sanchez, who helped her a lot. Like her kissing Scott and kissing a girl, which both did, letting her check those off her list. All three of them go to the hero school, Oceanside Hero High, run by Principal Claudia, a crab with a quirk that makes her intelligent as a human. Since she can't talk she clicks her claws in Morse code or writes. The school is both a hero school and a normal high school, with the hero training grounds being the same one that's used by the military for their army units, as unlike Japan that has a ban on using quirks but for heroes, people are allowed to use their quirks in public as long as they don't endanger others. Which is why the hero schools also teach other students how to safely use their quirks. Haley doesn't have a quirk, but is in the hero course, taking first aid and first responders classes. Scott, quirk lets him talk to animals and can understand their principal who uses him as her translator. Christine, her quirk is whenever she builds up momentum and can't ever be stopped by anything and is invincible while she's in motion, making her a juggernaut to anything in her way. Okay, I'm on the way, Haley said over the phone as she raced out of her room and out the front door. Ready to add another check in her to-do list. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author MangaMuse on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.